Moin! Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We got another video, things Germans do that just make more sense. Let's have a watch. This is from Haley Alexis. I've seen a couple of her videos. They seem to be really well made, and yeah, I enjoy it. So let's have a watch, and I'll kind of try to compare or at least comment on if that thing makes more sense to me, if it doesn't make more sense to me, or if we already do that thing here in Canada. If you're new here, I'm Mace, coming to you from Vancouver Island, beautiful Western Canada. And yeah, let's check this out. Things Germans do that just make more sense.
Hi everyone, what is up? My name is Haley. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you did not know, now you do. Hey you guys, what's up? So in today's video, y'all, I'm going to be talking about, I guess, the German things or things that Germany or Germans do that make more sense. And I should preface this or put in parentheses for an American, because this could be normal in Europe, let's say, or even in other parts of the world. And
I'm not an American. We've already had this kind of like semantic argument in the comments a couple times, people arguing over whether or not a Canadian is an American, but she's obviously referring to Americans as people from the United States of America, not from anywhere from Argentina to Canada.
for me as an American, it's not. So just keep that in mind when I'm talking about these things. So yeah, I'm gonna keep this intro relatively short, simple, and sweet. And don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. The first point is going to be the triangle, and me trying to make a triangle with my hands is not really working out, you guys. And the vest that Germans carry in their car. This is not required in the United States, and I always wonder why. And so basically you have this little triangle that has reflecting lights or strips on it, and it's for when you get into an accident. I think you go like 200 steps down the road, you put the little triangle down so people are aware that there's an accident ahead, that there might be people walking around, that there might be debris somewhere, there might be oil spilt somewhere, so people just have a warning of, hey.
That's definitely a really smart idea to create a safe zone, because especially if it's on a roadway that has high speeds, because you get a lot of people nowadays especially that are distracted. They're on their phones, you know, they got a car full of family, they got little kids in the back seat making a ruckus, and they're distracted. They can be anyways, so it's really good if they can have pre-warning to stop. That this is something that's not necessarily like mandated, so I don't know if it's a requirement to have these in your vehicle. Are they in Germany? So maybe you can let me know that. Here, people just have them out of common sense, to like, just in case, right? You'll have traffic cones in the trunk of your car for these type of situations, right? Even if you're changing a spare tire, like you just want people to be as aware of you as can be, because I have like a fear of like just standing on the side of a highway or roadway, because it just takes one person having a medical emergency or like falling asleep or using their phone to veer out of their lane and kill somebody.
Be alert and be aware. And this also goes for the vests that you keep in your car as well. They're usually these orange or yellow vests that you wear in case of an accident.
Let's go vests too.
Not magnetic, reflecting stripes on them as well. And when you're looking at how accidents are,
it's like what I wore when I worked at the airport back in the day.
Handled, and how road safety is handled, it's taken like up a notch. I feel like because of the unbegrenzt, you have no speed limit on the Autobahn in some instances, and so you have to be cautious, you have to be careful, because accidents can happen. And just on roadways in general, regardless of what speed limit you are driving, accidents happen. And so they're trying their best in Germany to prevent other injuries, other accidents, other things that could be associated with, I have no idea, someone being stuck on the side of the road. So the next point, you guys, is going to be something that I found to be extremely funny when I first got to Germany. I mean, now it's pretty normal, but when I first got here and I was driving on the Autobahn, I remember like a Volkswagen Passat or a Skoda Octavia, I think they're called, coming up behind me, and there was a hitch, like, and on that hitch they were towing a little camper, a little sleeper, and I was just like, what in the world? And they were Richtung Gardasee, wahrscheinlich für der Familienurlaub. And I was like, what the heck is this? A car, a multifunctional family automobile is pulling a camper behind them? In the United States, we do not do this. Like, the association of towing does not relate to...
Yeah, the association of towing always relates to trucks or like SUVs. However, I've seen cars with little campers and trailers on them, so it's not completely out of the ordinary. However, she's right. It's definitely something you don't see as often. People, they like to have their big giant pickup trucks to pull all their heavy, and sometimes you need a pickup truck, right? So it depends how heavy what you're carrying is. You can't tow just anything with a Volkswagen Passat, but some of these sleeper trailers, I'm sure it works great and it's really smart.
Family vehicles or sedans or four-door compact hatchback station wagon vehicles. It just does not happen. You usually have a truck, a big old working van, or an SUV, because you need the Super Duty King Ranch limited edition 4x4 lifted 2730 rims with blah, blah, blah. You need all of you need all of these things to be able to
She went
tow.
into a funny
and it's just not even in the back of
about
Americans' minds, or even at the front of Americans' minds,
or even
to tow
Canadians. Like we have
something
the same
with their tiny Toyota.
we have the same stereotypes here. Usually, like there's one joke about dudes that drive real big lifted pickup trucks that they're compensating for something. They got little wieners.
A Corolla. But I think this makes sense because it allows you to do a lot more with your vehicle. The practicality of your vehicle in Germany, I feel like you get a lot more use out of your vehicle.
So like I was kind of referencing a scene from Trailer Park Boys there. I don't know if I've mentioned Trailer Park Boys many times on the channel. It's a very famous Canadian mockumentary series about three childhood friends who live in a trailer park and their criminal escapades, petty criminal escapades. They're not like masterminds. They do petty crime, and it's just about the lives of these characters in the trailer park. And one of them, Bubbles, in one of the seasons, the later seasons, he makes fun of Julian for driving this big truck. And Julian's a guy with big muscles, right? He's got these big muscles, so he usually makes fun of his muscles, and now he's making fun of his truck. And he says, "You got a little wiener."
Vehicle than you do in the United States. So the next point, you guys, is going to be hard for me to explain it to you guys, but I hope you understand where I'm coming from, and it's going to be the general speed limits in specific areas here. I find this to be a really cool concept. I feel like it makes sense. At first, I really thought it was very confusing. I still find it to be very confusing,
so we know
because
about
I
the
don't
Autobahn
drive that often, but I feel like if I did, it would be a lot
no
easier
speed limit
than in the United States.
bases.
In Germany, I feel like you drive based on general signs and a general base understanding of, like, these are the rules and this is what happens. And these rules are usually on signs that have specific symbols.
The traffic signs. I did the traffic sign little practice test the other day. You can find that on the channel about a week ago.
Numbers or pictures on them. And so for general speed limits, I think when you're driving into a yellow sign that has a city or a district name on it, I think you have to either go 50 or 30. I don't know which one it is, you guys. I know that it's lower though. And then once you drive out of that city or district,
I would guess it's 50 kilometers an hour. 50 kilometers an hour is typically what our speed limits are within city limits, within neighborhoods. And then you'll get into places like parking lots and entryways to housing developments, and those would be like sometimes 20, 25.
There'll be another little sign with a line through it, which means you are leaving now, and then you can speed up, usually to around 100 kilometers per hour. I could be wrong, like I said, and I might correct myself if I am wrong. And if you drive into a city, like a main city, I think it's either 30.
So we just got this pop-up. Did Germany make me shave my hair off? Now I kind of want to watch that video. So innerorts, in town and city, 50. Auf Landesstraßen, country roads. Auf Landstraßen, back roads, country roads. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West
30 or 50 as
Virginia.
well. And then when you get into the Autobahn, they have signs that
Mountain
have, lines
Mama,
through them. That means you can go as
take me
fast as you want.
home.
But generally speaking,
Country
you drive
roads.
like 100 or 120. And then if there's a sign that says 80, you slow down. But it's like, you just know these things. You don't really need the signs. Like some signs advise you what to do, but it's not based, like, I don't know how to explain it to you guys. Like, I feel like Germans know what I'm talking about, but Americans won't know, because when you're in the United States, it's like 45 here, 35 here, 50 here, 65 there, 70 there, and it's constantly changing, and you don't know. You have no clear understanding of how fast do I drive here, or how fast am I allowed to drive here. It's ever changing, and in Germany that's not the case. And Mike, he was a little confused when he first came to the United States and was driving, because he was like, well, how fast do I go here? And I'm like, oh, it's 45. And he's like, but how do you know that? I said, oh, there's a sign that says 45, and until you see the next sign, that's how it works. And he's like, but what happens if, like, you drive into a city and you don't change? And I'm like, no, you just drive whatever this little sign is. And he's like, but they're not all consistent. And I'm like, no, every place is different. So the next point is going to be fund, you guys. And this is something that I've talked about all the time on my channel, but I feel like in 2022, they implemented a new rule / law / legislation.
If you cannot read this, it's okay. All that it's saying is that starting in 2022, more or different bottles will be added to the recycling scheme in Germany. This is hopefully going to reduce the amount of single-use plastic bottles in circulation and just plastic in general.
Regulation, and it is that I think every plastic container up to 3 liters has to have fund on it, or it might be every container, but I'm pretty sure it's every plastic container. When you buy something, you pay a deposit on it, and you get that deposit back when you return the bottle. And the reason I think this is such a good idea is because I think maybe it would help people in the United States take a second look at how much they are consuming, and it would actually make the plastic end up in the right.
I'm getting some meows, some morning meows. Yeah, we have the same system here. Your bottles have a refund, a deposit built into the price, right? You buy a 12 pack and there's 12, it's 5 cents or 10 cents times 12. And then when you take them back to the recycling place, you get that back. Wait, quiet, please.
Spot. I feel like littering is a big thing everywhere in the world. I've seen it happen in Germany, I've seen it happen in the United States, but I do feel like in the United States we are so, how do you say, like, so removed from how much we consume, because it's just so normalized, and we have no real consequences for what we do. In Germany, it's like, I have to pay, or I pay 25 cents, and you may be thinking, oh, it's only 25 cents, but that 25 cents adds up. If you were to take...
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, there's definitely the Americans have this system too. I don't know if maybe there's some states where they don't have it, though. That's possible. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure about the United States. I know in Canada, every province has their own kind of recycling schemes. And Canada as a country is very clean, like I've noticed. And I've traveled abroad, and there's some other like third world countries and stuff like that where it's just different culturally. Like there's garbage all over the place, right? And it's just because their government systems and just have different cultural norms to unfortunately leads to a lot of dumping of garbage everywhere.
All of the fund that I have collected since living in Germany, we would probably have like hundreds or thousands of euros that I have spent and like recollected for my plastic bottles. And that is a lot of money. And this is why I think it's a very good idea, because it makes people reevaluate how much they consume. The next point is going to be a little bit controversial, and there are some con aspects that I might make a video tailored to regarding this in the future, but I want to talk about the positive aspects of this point, and it is splitting kids up to go to different types of schools. Now, like I said, this is not a perfect system. It has its flaws. There have been studies about this. People have made videos about this, talking about the flaws of this system. But I do like the general idea that children can go to different levels of school or different pathways for education in Germany. There are 3 different options, I believe, that German children can take, and they're split up at an early...
Education is so important. So yeah, I'd be interested to see the studies about how the German educational system works versus the American system, or even other countries in Europe. I'm actually looking at going back to school potentially here in the next year, so should be interesting as a elder student
early age, they get pushed into those schools. Now, I will talk a little bit about the flaws, you guys, because I just can't not talk about this point. I do feel like it happens maybe too young, and sometimes kids are pushed to do stuff based on their economic or social standing, and maybe not based on their merit or their grades or their success level. But I do think if this was maybe worked on a little bit, and maybe a little bit more time and effort and resources were put into this system, and making it, just a more functional system, then I would say it is a perfect system. Because I've said this many times before, not everyone is made for the traditional school route.
I think she's got a good point there. Even in Canada, there should be more streamlined options for students who it becomes more and more clear, like they're not going to be going to university, or they're not going to be going into science, science and mathematics and things like that. They're going, like, because we still need plumbers and electricians and all of these tradesmen, construction, carpenters, all of these positions which pay really well. Like they pay really well and they're great careers. They need more streamlined pathways to explore those things, instead of kind of being pushed to go to university and get like a really general degree, which doesn't necessarily set them up for any specific career path, and kind of just leaves them in student debt, because we have big student debts here for people if you go into the wrong type of schooling, or you don't have money saved up, or and then in the States it's even worse.
Not everyone is made to go to high school, to go to college, to go to university, to get their master's and work as a CEO at this company, or work as a marketing manager, or doing all these things. Some people like construction. Some people like working on cars. Some people like working as teachers. Some people like working as models. Some people like working as photographers.
Well, you need a degree to be a teacher, but...
And so I do think that this could be a very encompassing school system, but it just needs to work out its tweaks. So the next point, you guys, is going to be something that I already talked about, and I think it's pretty funny, and I think it's an interesting point because so many people were confused about it when I talked about it in my previous video, and it is that you can pay for your gas after you pump. I'm trying to think if that's the right way to word it. So yeah, in the United States, you usually pay beforehand, meaning you put your credit card, debit card in the little machine at the gas station, and then you just pump your tank full.
So here in British Columbia, this actually, it used to be different. You used to be able to pump your gas and then go pay. But what happened was there was a gas station worker in Richmond, BC, I think. There was somebody at the pumps. They pumped their car full of gas and they took off. The gas station worker, unfortunately, like they tried to stop them, stop them from leaving and stealing the gas. And in the process, they got dragged by the vehicle and actually died. So British Columbia, anyways, they changed the law after that, where you had to pay for gas beforehand. And that was kind of the striking point, was change that, which was a really sad thing, right?
Or you put however much money you want to put in there, or you have the option of going in and telling the cashier that you want to put 20 on pump 1. And a lot of people were like, but how do you know when you do that how much you pay or how much gas you need? And I was like, you don't, you just guess. And I think that the German method makes more sense because it's true, you do guess in the United States. And this has happened to me, like, from both ends of the spectrum, where you say, okay.
It's kind of a funny thing, like, I pay for gas with my credit card. So, like, what they do is they charge you $100 on your credit card. And, like, your credit card is just on hold, basically. They get a hold on your credit card, and then whatever the final price is, that's what you get charged. But you're still, in essence, paying beforehand. If you're paying on a debit card or with cash, then yes, you would need to guess. You would have to go inside and say, here's $40 cash. Pump 6, please. $40 cash. Thank you. Regular gasoline. Thanks.
Yeah, I want to put 20 on pump 1, and then your car needs like $23. And it's like, it's not full. Like, it bothers me when I put so much money in the tank, and then it's only like this. just small from being full. I don't know if I have an issue with this, but it really like irks me. Or you have the other end of the spectrum where
Doesn't
you
matter
put
to
20
me.
bucks in and your car only needed $18.15. Then you gotta go into the gas station and get your $1.85 change back. And it varies from gas station to gas station. It's not like one umbrella rule that it's like, oh, you go into this gas station and get your change back. No, every gas station is different. I went into a gas station in the United States when I was visiting, and I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot to ask you, do I need to get my change after, or does it automatically go back on my card? And he's like, you just come back in and I give you the change cash even though you paid with a card. He said, but the gas station down the street, they don't do that. You just drive off and you get your change credited back to your card. And I was like, what? How? I understand why they don't do it in the United States, you guys, and it's because so many people would steal gas, so many people would drive away. There aren't enough honest people in the United States to make this happen. Too many bad apples ruin the bunch. So the last and final point, you guys, I feel like is going to have the biggest impact on the United States, or would have the biggest impact on the United States, and it is plastic bags not being allowed in a lot of retail stores in Germany. This is something that is quite interesting to me, and an observation that I've made over the years living here is that when a new law, regulation, or rule is implemented in Germany, as long as it's not too burdensome.
So this just happened within like the last year, probably in British Columbia, where a lot of stores have completely phased out plastic bags. So now they all offer these cloth bags, which they charge you, I think, 25 cents for or something like that. There's still some stores that offer paper bags for free, and I like to shop at those stores too.
Some, if it helps the general population and it's not too hard to implement in your daily life, people are pretty chill when it comes to just rolling with the punches and going with the flow. And this is for every aspect of life. And so plastic bags were banned and there was no uproar here. People weren't in the streets, protesting about the plastic bags or going crazy on social media about plastic bags. But I remember at certain McDonald's in the United States, they started charging 25 cents for extra sauces. Now it was because a lot of franchises, they had to A, pay for them themselves, and B, they were just trying to cut back on how much plastic they gave. And so you would buy 10 chicken nuggets, you'd probably get 2 to 3 sauces, and there would be people who'd be like, I need 10 sweet and sour sauces for my chicken nuggets. And then they're like, okay, that'd be 25 cents each. And people were in an uproar. I need my sweet and sour sauce, and if I can't get 10 plastic things of it, then it's communism. And I'm just like, what is going on? This can't be real life. And I always find it to be very interesting how societies react to these things. Germans are, it's whatever, no big deal, doesn't really bother me that.
Yeah, we had a few people here getting annoyed with it, but very, very few in the huge scheme of things. Very few people care. People the average person does not care that they got rid of plastic bags. Nobody cares. I do, however, dislike the new straws that they give. I wish we still had plastic straws. Sorry. These new straws, they melt, or they don't melt, but the liquid breaks them down within, because they're made out of cardboard or something like that, and yeah, they're made out of recycled cardboard, and then after 5-10 minutes they just start to get all soggy, and then it's annoying. I miss plastic straws. I'm sorry.
That much, and what's 25 cents in the United States? Oh my gosh, it's such an inconvenience. My life is ruined, and I'm suffering. And that is the same with plastic bags in the United States. I know that some states, maybe not states, maybe certain cities, districts, counties have banned plastic bags, but they are still very prevalent in the United States.
Even though it's photographs, they're ridiculous, let's be honest. Just, we can come up and be smarter than that. Bring in reusable bags. That's what we always have, a big bag of reusable bags. There's a big bag of reusable bags in the back of the bag of reusable bags. Yeah, the reusable bags. Keep them in the car. Take them into the store. It's not that hard.
For the United States to completely ban, let's say, plastic bags at grocery stores, I feel like would cause an uproar. I honestly feel like people would protest in the streets because of this. And it's so crazy to me because there are so many places in the world where people don't use plastic bags and they're perfectly fine. They're not dying on the side of the street. They're not having to, I mean, maybe they have to carry a few.
Look at us, Canada, full or partial ban. So I don't know. I think we're at a full ban pretty much at this point. And yeah, nobody cares. Who cares?
Few extra bags with their groceries, but it's just like, I think it would be such a positive impact. It would get rid of so many plastic bags that people use on a daily basis that they have no Überblick. They have no understanding of how much plastic they consume when it comes to grocery shopping and using these single-use plastic bags and maybe using 5 to cover their milk.
Yeah, she's got a point. At the end of the day, though, there's still millions of single-use plastic containers that are bought at grocery stores just in the products alone. Like, there's so much plastic. There's so much plastic. You seen those islands in the Pacific Ocean? Islands of plastic. Just huge islands. People are gonna be buying real estate on these islands of plastic pretty soon.
Milk or wrap their eggs in a bunch of plastic bags. People just, they've lost all control of how much they're consuming. And so I think the best way, this is maybe the same, and this is why they did it in Germany as well. The best way to stop consumption of these things, because you don't necessarily need them, is to just ban them outright. Now, I do think there are certain instances where people will argue with me and say, oh, well, you need plastic bags for this or you need plastic bags for that. And that is very true. There are some instances where maybe you do need a plastic bag or like a plastic straw or a plastic cup. There are some instances where maybe you do need this, but for the majority of the time, you probably don't, and you'll be fine without it. But yeah, those were all the points, you guys, and these were all of the things that I feel like Germany or
Not
Germans
straws.
do just make a lot more sense to me. And so yeah,
I'm not gonna
thank
bring
you so
my
much for
own
watching,
straw
you guys.
every
You can let me
time.
know if I missed anything down below in the comment section. Other than that, love y'all. Have a wonderful day, and bye.
All right, solid video. A lot of good stuff there that we went over, and yeah, I maintain the straw thing. It's like a minor inconvenience for me. I don't really, it doesn't bother me that much. I'm not buying fountain drinks. I'm not in the situation that often that I'm getting these drinks that have these stupid straws. So it's just when I do, I'm like minorly inconvenienced. That's it. Yeah. All right. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Tschüss. See you in the next one.